Oh, what did you say? You're starting it?
Yep. Starting now.
Yeah, give me
He said we're already on the air.
Are we actually live now?
We are live now.
Bloody hell. Can I have one episode where I managed to get it right?
It's down to you, innit?
Hello, and thanks. Are you joking with me? Are we actually live now?
Yeah. I think.
Oh, you sod. Hello, and thanks for joining myself and my fellow guests tonight for our second Character Animator round table. Each month we aim to gather animators from across the world to join Antony, Digital Puppets, right here in our cartoon studio, where we can discuss how they've been using Adobe's latest animation software for the project that they've been working on. Last week we were talking about how Character Animator can be used to create live avatars for the gaming community, but tonight we will be discussing how it can be used to produce cartoon shows. Joining us this evening is once again Dave Werner, aka OK Samurai, the public cartoonist of Character Animator, who I'm sure will be just as eager as Antony. Other two guests, Stephen Brooks and Justin Smith. Thanks for joining us all tonight.
What is happening on this show? What is happening on this show?
Nothing like nothing bloody correct, as it always is the case. Every time we do one of these shows. Every time we do one of these
This is the whole joy of live shows, isn't it? It's not supposed to go
That's
smoothly.
right. That's exactly
This is super
right.
smooth.
That's how you know it's going to be a good show. When there's tech problems right at the top, you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, well then every
Start
time
the
I see a
drinking
good
game
bloody
now.
show.
That's right.
Right, okie dokie. Stephen, you are, of course, very well known to the animation community for the excellent podcast that is Rubber Onion, on which for over 200 episodes you have interviewed a vast amount of animators. You provide industry news, give insightful reviews, and you even have time to organise a monthly animation battle with your followers. However, as well as being a stellar podcaster, you're also a veteran animator yourself, with an amazing portfolio of projects to your name. Most recently, you've been working on shows such as Our Cartoon President and the new animated episode of The Stephen Colbert Show. So we've got a whole bunch of questions to ask you about those, but before we do, Justin, you're the crazy brain creator behind Gulf City, which it appears you've been taking full advantage of Character Animator to make a whole host of different shows in the Gulf City universe. Not only do you have your original YouTube cartoon series, but you also have a live chat show and a gaming channel. So hopefully tonight we can dig into the origins of all that and discuss how you developed it. Right, anyway, that's the bloody scripted part over, which is never any good. So now we can actually just get into the bloody, non-scripted version where we just chat amongst ourselves. So, the very first question...
We've made it through the whole script.
That's it.
Yeah, actually, can I go back to something you said? Because you said, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt here. You said that I was doing softball interviews, thank you very much. They're hard-hitting.
That's right.
Anyway.
Is this the dance break? This is just where we dance it up. We're just going to go for a dance break right here. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. We'll break it down.
Okay, yeah, it's all gone completely to pot.
Yeah, it's
You know
best
what?
show
People
ever,
like it
dude.
when it goes
That's
completely to pot.
right? Exactly.
Right, okay then. You know what, Ad? That music is so bloody annoying.
Best thing
Do
of
we
the
need
show.
to be able to hear that ourselves?
Anyway, I thought you had some questions.
Right. Yeah, I've got some questions. Right, so, anyway, as tonight's show is all about how our fellow creators have been using Character Animator to make the cartoon shows that they've been working on. So, my first question to everybody is, how are you using Character Animator right now on your projects? Any of you can start answering that one first. Let's pick Stephen.
I'm still in the middle of my dance break, man. I'll come back to the answer in a minute.
I was gonna say there's like a 3-second break here, so I'm like, you gotta wait 3 seconds for someone to jump in. All right, since you handed off to me, I'll say, yeah, Character Animator is a lead animator on Our Cartoon President, which uses Character Animator, and now I'm here. That's it.
Coolio. And Dave, you've been using. I see you brought your snowman along tonight. I saw you've been using that live on Facebook very recently. Is that something you're gonna be doing a lot more of?
Yeah, you know,
it's just a test one.
think so.
The one you did the other evening, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah, I think some of the most interesting use cases for Character Animator are the live animated things. We've seen people like do crazy Halloween displays where they to the kids, or they have, you know, displays, you know, like these Twitch live streams we see, or you know, all sorts of different stuff. So it's kind of exciting to think about, you know, all these different possibilities, and I'm kind of wanting to explore that a little bit more. I think that's one of my goals in 2019 is to explore the, you know, the live stream possibilities a little bit more, because I think that's kind of still, we're in the very early stages of that, of live animation. So yeah, it's but these guys over here are doing I don't have a point over their animation, but they're doing a great job. I mean,
I don't know about a great job,
think,
but
well, okay, well, you know,
we're doing a job.
Let's say better than average job. Yeah, it's a job, right? But no, everyone's doing a great job. Everyone here at this panel is you know, extremely talented and doing some really cool stuff with Character Animator, and we as the team, you know, aren't really get inspired seeing what everybody does. And you know, when people run into issues or break things or say, hey, this isn't working the way we want it to, you guys are all relatively vocal, I think, about letting us know about that, and that's great because that helps us make the product better. So we appreciate that feedback. We you know, that's how it goes.
You say you appreciate it, but I'm pretty sure I was annoying you this week when I sent you about 300 million questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, also relatively vocal sounds dubious at best.
That's right. Your bargaining posture is highly dubious, man.
Right, so...
Oh, man. Well, yeah. Oh,
how long...
This delay is
just,
brutal.
Yeah, how do you use it?
it always takes
The delay, the 3-second delay.
it always takes a while to get used to the delay, but it normally gets better.
I don't
normally
think,
towards the end of the show.
I don't think you ever get used to it. You just pull up with it.
Well, I mean, maybe we should just treat it like the local news, you know what I mean? We're going to ask a question now of Master Animator Dave Werner. Dave, and then he waits a couple of seconds in the field. Hi, Scott. Yeah, I hear you out there. Thank you very much for throwing it to me. All that kind of shit. Maybe we should be doing it that way.
Sure, that's
because
a fantastic
the fact that
idea.
I'm 3 feet away from
I
this...
think that's actually a good bloody idea.
I'm
There
down,
were no
dude. I will
survivors.
be your
Just
in the
in.
field correspondent. There were no survivors.
Okay, then let's try that
Oh,
out. Right,
shit.
we're going to go to Justin on the right side of the page now. And Justin, we're going to be asking you the question: how long have you been using Character Animator, and how has it changed the way that you produce your project? Did I say
It has revolutionized the field. I've been using
Go on
Character
then,
Animator
tell us about
probably
it.
right at about right about a year and a half. I got into it when it was in the beta, as soon as my Adobe CC panel offered it to me. And my project Gold City I had kind of had on the shelf for a long time, so where I was unable to get any kind of real efficiency to trying to create animation for the type of project I wanted to do with things like what do you call it, Harmony, Toon Boom, all these other things. Those were still really labor intensive when you're in a small staff, and then Adobe comes along and gave me Character Animator, and it's able to cut that time to a point where it makes these projects very doable, and I'm able to use it to not only record source animation that I can then composite for my show, but then again in several different types of live scenarios, including this one. By the way, thank you very much for having me on a show like this. There are not nearly enough shows about animation on YouTube these days, so I appreciate you fellas. Also, nice talking to you again, David. Nice to meet you, Steve.
Likewise.
Nice to meet you.
See, now I'm waiting that 3 seconds. I'd wait the 3 seconds to see if anybody said. I was like, maybe they're just going to leave me out here hanging.
But no, I know exactly what you mean, because Antony and I were working from probably right back to about 2010, maybe even earlier. We were working on a cartoon series about a pub, and we built all the characters, and I spent months working on a bloody animatic that seemed to go on for about 40 minutes. And then just the day job and the projects and, family and everything, you just... Animation in a traditional sense, it takes a long time, and if it's just you working on it by yourself, then it takes a bloody long time. And so I had all these characters just sat on the shelf that, I was hoping to get around to one day, probably when I retired. And then, I had a customer that needed some artwork, some little animations done quickly, and I just so happened to see on YouTube about this plugin that was on After Effects that's gone into beta, and literally off the back of that I was able to knock out cartoons, good little cartoons that would have taken me ages before. So, and then also we started jumping into the whole live thing as well, and that's the thing that's exciting, not just from a personal project point of view, but if you're working on marketing jobs or advertising jobs, everything online nowadays, people want content, super fast. Years ago, someone would spend thousands of pounds on one advert and they'd leave that role for a few months, where now you put an advert out on Facebook or Instagram, people have forgotten it after a few days. But with Character Animator, you can churn out loads of content, rapidly. And it looks like that's what you've been doing, Justin, because you've got tons of channels now on YouTube. I see you've got your gaming, you've got your live channel, you've got your cartoons. Which one are you enjoying doing the most at the moment, your cartoons or your live stuff?
Oh shit! I mean, the cartoons are definitely my primary focus. That's what I would call my core content. Everything that I do around that, so that would be everything around the Gold City Cartoons channel. So that's Gold City Live, Gold City Gaming, and Fright Supremacy. Those are all in an effort to support the character bases and lore bases from the show, and in turn try to drive those viewers towards what is, again, the primary content. But without the ability to composite these animated signals live, I would have a much slower release schedule of content to be coming out and all of those types of things. So it makes a huge difference in trying to trying to be able to promote or keep your fan base aware of things that are happening new with your recorded content without that type of live scheduling. And if people only heard from me once a month, once every 2 weeks, even once every couple of months, I mean, shit, it's been 3 months since my last cartoon, just because, I'm going through a bunch of art style changes and all these things. But being able to do it live over the course, and particularly on a platform like YouTube, where it's agreeable to an audience on a streaming platform to see things in an imperfect state. Like in traditional TV, from season 1, episode 1, you get a little leeway on the pilot, but overall, you pretty much need to be where you're going to be at the very beginning, and things like YouTube don't require that. So it's nice to be able to, even when the show was very rough in the early days, to be able to just put it out there, be able to see how people react to it live, and temper that against the kind of changes and upgrades that I want to make to be able to continually make the product better. And I have Adobe Character Animator to thank for that. Now, where's my sponsorship at?
Well, how long does it take you to, how long did it take you to produce an episode of one of your shows now compared to what it took you before you was using Character Animator?
Well, to be honest, before I was using Character Animator, there was no show. Even in the efforts to try to make it happen back then, the labor-intensive aspect of it just made it inefficient for, regular people that have to pay rent and stuff. But I will say that in doing it, my record sessions it makes that experience amazing. Anybody that's ever worked on TV with any kind of ensemble cast stuff knows how a table read goes and knows how a recording session can go and all of those things. And with traditional animation, those things could be much longer or go very differently. And it's very interesting for me to be able to work with my cast in a capacity where they're not only reading from the script, but at the same time, they are more truly controlling the character. So the facial expressions and the movement are more in tune with what the actor does. They're able to control arms and expressions and these different triggers and what have you, and it makes the performance aspect for them as well as myself more difficult, certainly, but I think more rewarding in how personal the product can be, so you don't end up making a bunch of mediocre crap nobody can relate to. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Am I just going off on a tangent here?
Yes.
No. It makes total sense. And Stephen, can you be like, obviously you've been working on Cartoon President. Is that the first project that you've been working on with Character Animator?
Yeah. I think it's the first show that is actually produced using Character Animator, at least in the capacity that we're using it.
Well, that was one of the very
pioneer,
first examples of Character Animator I saw with Donald Trump on the Stephen Colbert show. I think that was literally the thing I saw on YouTube, and I was like, how the bloody hell are they doing this? And that's what led me down the rabbit hole of, finding out about it.
I think the first thing I saw was maybe the
Simpsons?
Homer Simpson when they did that. Yeah,
there you go.
Were you on that?
Yeah, it was the same thing. That was what I was about to say. Yeah. And then I saw the stuff that was on Stephen Colbert, the Late Show. I think it started with God, and then he had Donald Trump, and then Hillary Clinton. And the co-creator of the show, Tim Luecke, he was the one that was responsible for making that stuff happen on the Late Show. And then it just evolved into just decided to create a show. I mean, I wasn't involved in that. I came on already way into pre-production once they were hiring animators for Character Animator. And and then I think we produced it probably. The first episode, I think, took maybe a month to do, but then we had it down to somewhere around 2 to 3 weeks to actually make a pass of Character Animator. So we had a really...
So how long would it... Looking at one of them episodes, you say it took you a month to do a whole batch of them. If you take that same amount of episodes, but you did it using a different software, did it traditionally on a keyframe basis, timeline.
It would take almost 40 years.
How much longer would it take?
5,000 years.
I mean, it would probably take maybe more than double what we did. But I mean, I was able to, the rate, I can't remember what my actual rate was, but I think it was somewhere around maybe 1.5 minutes a day. I think is somewhere around there of completed animation, which is just it was a lot.
How much? What's the kind of? How much do you use Character Animator? Are you still kind of mixing it with the traditional style animation, or is it going more just Character Animator?
Well, I mean, all the stuff that we do is done in Photoshop first. Like all these gestures that I have, for instance, that I'm doing now. I mean, these are done in Photoshop on the timeline, and then using frames rather. And so everything is basically pre-animated, and then we. I mean, you guys know how Character Animator works, but the point being that it's around, I'd say 70 to 80%, probably around there, in order to do the animation, like to get an actual first pass of animation. The rest of it is done in After Effects.
Yeah.
Cool. And is it a big team working on the show? Or is it because of Character Animator able to have a much smaller team?
Yeah, no, it's I can't really compare it to other teams, but it's it's over 100 and something. I'm not sure what the actual number is, but
wow.
Yeah, as far as the Character Animator goes, the Character Animator team is 6. We got 12 to 14. So I'm a lead animator for the even episodes, and my friend Jacob Kafka is lead animator for the odd episodes, and we both have 6 character animator performers that work in our team.
My envy of you knows no bounds, my man.
Well,
and what about you, Justin? How many are in your team?
Well, there's me, and I've got a buddy in the UK that helps me out with some of my ink and paint on the layouts. Yep, that's it. Other than that, it's my voice cast people.
Yeah, that's totally the same, yeah.
Oh, he's in the chat. Yeah, my friend. My friend Free Press is in the city. In the chat. He helps me a lot with ink and paint. Does a hell of a job. I would be fucked without him. I'm sorry, screwed without him. I don't know. Is there a softer word I can use there? Dave, you're a snowman. Help me.
Wait, I thought we said we could say fuck.
Dave's a snowman.
I don't think you... It's past 9 o'clock.
Wait, do snowmen not say fuck?
Like.
I have never heard that word before in my life.
That's right. That's right.
Liar.
Dave, can I tell you, by the way, dude, I love the Evan Flamethrower Choose Your Own Adventure. Super cool, man. That's great concept.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
very
that
much.
was good, actually. Are you going to be doing any more?
Thanks, that was
Evans?
a lot of fun.
You going to be doing any more of them?
Yeah. Yeah, so I've been thinking about it. I'd like to do more with the concept. I think there's a lot. Interactive video is always something that's really interested me, and I think there's a lot more possibilities with that. So the current idea is to do Evan Flamethrower 2, the musical, and have it be a musical Choose Your Own Adventure with completely song-based.
Flamethrower on ice.
Yes, exactly. Oh, that's the third one.
That's right.
Continue to push ridiculous concepts and ideas, and so that's the idea. But I mean, the first one took a huge amount of time, and there's part of me that while I'd love to do more with that, there's also part of me that wants to try some new stuff. So I'm hoping. I have a list of like I'm sure all of us have, right? There's a list of projects that you wish you could do if you had all the time in the world, but there's only so many so many hours in the day.
I think a big problem as well, a lot of creative people get into that you'll spend ages working on one idea or working on one cartoon, and then by the time you bloody well finish it, you start getting an idea for something else. It's that shiny syndrome thing where you get distracted and then you go off and you do something else, and then the same thing happens over and over again. I know in my own folders I've got some characters that I've built and ended up doing sod all with because I've gone on to do other stuff. What I need to do is find a way to bound them all together, which is a bit what we're kind of doing with this bar talk thing that we've been working on for the last couple of months.
Well, that can often come from your kind of style of storytelling, where we saw TV and cartoons in maybe the 80s, 90s, even at the turn of the century, were kind of based on these singular, what you would call bottle episodes, where it's just this kind of compacted plot where everything fits into one single thing. I think that's where you more find yourself wanting to drag over to completely different ideas after a single project's finished, whereas with a more modern storytelling element as far as episodic television or anything like that goes, you're more likely to see these large story arcs that go across an entire season, and that helps in a lot of ways keep that interest there and allow you to really kind of flesh out what your ideas are before getting into a project. Like, for instance, I did 13 episodes of the cartoon, and now I have 9 new ones planned. Like, I kind of plan them as a big group, and then you execute that over time. And, of course, changes happen and all of that. But I think that keeps me from just up and going, well, no, I'm going to do this now, because you're exactly right. You think of more ideas than you could ever possibly execute. I'd have to have a team of thousands on hand at all times. Back to you, Ant.
You know what? You need to... We're going to have to do that whole back to you thing, because I think everyone stops. No one says anything, because we don't know if the whole lag thing's going on. Well, I'll tell you what.
Right, well,
I mean, 3 seconds is a long time.
Anyways, it seems to be particularly bad tonight compared to, I don't know.
It might be because we're
I blame you.
simultaneously streaming to Facebook and YouTube. No, that's causing any lag issues, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, it could be that. Is anyone actually keeping an eye on the Facebook feed?
No.
We could be getting... No? Oh. Go on, I'm going to...
If you're getting
No, with all the
on
screens I got
YouTube,
going on, I
viewers,
can't see
you,
anything other than this. I have no idea what's going on in chat.
Well, I'll tell you what. If if anybody is watching us live on Facebook, and that's a big if, but if anyone is watching us live
I think there's
on
3
Facebook,
people
you wanna
watching
send
us live on Facebook.
And you
Give
want to
them
send us
to
a message,
YouTube, Blake.
go over to...
Yeah, go to YouTube.
Go over to YouTube, YouTube/Digital Puppets, and come onto the live feed there, and you can send a message like all the hundreds of people below that we have ignored so far. We should actually have a look. What's being said to us here? Okay, yeah, opinionated Scotsman.
JJ Parks in the chat says he found it, but it brought him to YouTube. See, he's got the right plan. That's what everybody on Facebook needs to do.
Oh, what's up,
By the way, guys in
JJ?
the chat, if you're getting lag, there you go. Just back it up a few minutes. That way you don't have to sit through the buffering, the suffering.
Digital Puppets away. Right, so, Justin.
Yes,
Talking
sir.
about ideas and that then, where did the actual whole Gulf City thing come from? You know, where did that Gemini idea originate?
Okay, I'll try to give you the quick and dirty on this. In like '06, I started doing a webcomic where I started drawing with that style. Initially, it was about I was just drawing me and my friends and just kind of practicing some stuff. And then I wanted to create a couple of original characters. My first characters were Gasly, that's me right now, the ghost. He has a ghost friend named Jerome, and an on-again, off-again love interest that tends bar named Mina. And those were my initial characters. And originally, when I came up with a concept for a show, I thought it was going to be about the day shift at a strip club. Because I was on a road trip and I went to a strip club during the day in Fort Worth, Texas at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that is a grim.
Oh,
We've lost everyone.
Do it? What? No, I'm...
We lost everyone? I think
I got
What?
to 100.
no,
Whoa.
think done.
Oh.
Everyone just froze.
Whoa!
He
I knocked
froze
him
for
out.
a
I gave him
while.
the sleeping gas. It looked like you guys passed out from listening to my story.
That's true.
Don't worry, it's just another Antony glitch.
So, you were saying?
I don't even remember. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I drew a shitload of ghosts in a sketchbook, and I couldn't do nothing about it till Character Animator came along. Now I'm ready to rock and roll. There it is.
Well, I think that sums up quite nicely. And Stephen, obviously you've been okay at the minute. You're working on our cartoon president, but have you got any projects of your own? Obviously, you do all your battle contests and whatnot, so you got a big community of people that you're working with out there and doing animations and whatnot. But have you got any projects of your own that you've been too busy to work on that you now with Character Animator you might want to break out and give it a go?
I'll slap you.
Yes.
Hold on. Hey, ow, wake up.
No, ah, how dare you? I think with Character Animator, the thing that I've kind of learned is how to use it, at least for series production, because it's. I mean, I don't know. I will not ever want to, I think, do live stuff. Just, I don't know. It's just not like in my personal interest. But being that you can kind of use it to create.
It works really well.
With the 3 second, as long as I can reduce the 3 second wait, then maybe, I don't know. But I don't know. It's possible that I could do some live stuff. Like a live podcast might be interesting. I mean, it was kind of fun setting up this character. And yeah, it might be fun to see what happens with.
I'm sorry, I got frozen.
Okay,
right
so maybe
there.
I won't do that. Yeah, I saw you with your hand sticking straight up and waiting for something profound. It's still happening. That's okay.
I was waiting for an epiphany, I guess. I don't know. It all froze on me for a second. I couldn't hear or see anybody.
Well, I think that what I kind of would like to use this for is anything with recurring characters in a recurring setting. So, I mean, you were talking about bottle episodes or bottle films earlier, and I think that it really would work really well for that. Anything in a standard setting, especially a lot of talking heads, and I think I could probably use it for that.
Yeah, I think that's right, especially with anything episodic, because, man, like you said earlier, it takes a long time for that asset creation and the kind of pre-animating, but once you got it, man. You can just shoot it over and over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean, even this character and the animation that's in here, I mean, I only have this and this for the puppet, you know, so I can, like, shrug my shoulders and stuff, but
well, you got more
that was made... I got a body. But that was only created for this thing that we call podcast-imations, where we take some clips from the podcast and just animate us talking and then play. They're like illustrations that Rob does, and we just kind of have those come on screen at certain times. So I think, you know, I might be able to use Character Animator for these portions. Might speed up the process of even that.
Yeah. I mean, since you've seen Character Animator on shows like our Cartoon President, what do you think of it compared to, you know, the way that you normally animate? Do you think you'll start merging the two softwares together a lot more often, or, you know, do you think it works well together?
Man, the speed, I mean, the speed is incredible. Like, to be able to whip through an entire scene in just a matter of a few hours is... I mean, even less than that. I mean, I could do one in a couple hours, something that takes up to like a minute. So, yeah, no, I really think that I kind of see it being used for anything with the talkie bits. You know, you could still do hand-drawn animation for all the action, and that's how we kind of use After Effects for anything where someone needs to walk on screen or grab something or slap someone in the face or something like that. We use After Effects, or just straight up draw it.
Do you not, because the way, you know, a lot of projects I do, things like that when you got people walking, like, there's a project I'm working on at the moment, which is for this character that has to bounce into screen and transform and disappear and come back and do all these, this, that and the other. What I generally do is I'll do the animation in Animate, and then I'll export it as a ping sequence, and then I'll just drop it into the top file of Photoshop, which then, you know, updates to Character Animator. And then, you know, I just animate it. If it's arm movements, then, you know, if it's facial, but I can do a whole body animation that will, you know, turn off the normal puppet and replace it with that little sequence. So, you know, generally the way I work it is I'll do all the animations that I can think of that the character might possibly do, you know, arm, legs, face, everything, embed them into the character. And yeah, like Justin said, that can take, that whole asset building side of things can sometimes, it can take days, it can take weeks, but once you've got it, then, you know, you can just run with it for ages. And I mean, if you really go the whole hog, you could do a 360 turnaround character. If you, you know, I think to really do that at the moment, I look forward to. I was talking to some of the people at Adobe recently, and they were saying, like, I don't think you're going to get Animate as a parent file like you got with Illustrator and Photoshop anytime soon. But I think they're going to make it easier to drop cycle layers into Illustrator, and by having vector parent files, you can keep the file size really down. And once you can keep the file size down to a minimal, then you can really build really complicated characters without, you know, the Photoshop getting too big and dropping down.
$20 per feature right now. I'll speed it. No, but seriously, make checks payable. No, no, that's honestly something we've been thinking a lot about, and you know, I think there's kind of this pipe dream that a lot of people have. Sometimes they say, oh, I wish everything was one giant app, right? I wish Photoshop and Illustrator were the same, or I wish Premiere and After Effects were the same. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, it's just, you're going to make a really bloated, buggy product that's not going to, you know, it's only going to be able to do so much. So I think it does make sense to separate things out into these different workflows. But that being said, we do want things to be able to work together a little bit better. And so we've already started to see that. You can now like take an FLA file from Animate and open it up, and it shows up in the timeline in After Effects. Or you can now export an SVG from Animate, and it shows up in Character Animator. So I think these are some of the initial steps, but I think ideally, we will continue to see this happen a lot more. And all these things that you want, it shouldn't matter where you draw or create your assets. There should be an easy way to get them into Character Animator and Animate After Effects. And that's something that we did at the CN conference in Burbank actually last month, last month. And that was great to kind of see all the different tools that people use. No one was saying, oh, I only use this tool and that's it. Everyone has a toolbox filled with a lot of different things. And so we want it, no matter where you make stuff, even if it's not an Adobe product, we want you to be able to bring things in easier. And I think, rigging is still the most difficult part of Character Animator. And I think there's a ton of ways we can make that more magical and easier for people in the future. And I think we'll continue doing that, and that interoperability between applications. But I can't give specifics right now, but yeah. What the heck is going on over there?
I don't know. I'm elbowing him in the chest a little bit. There he goes. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
You okay?
Dave, I'm still on 1.5, man. I don't want to go to Windows 10, dude. Seriously. I want to keep my 7.
I hear you.
Is Windows 7 still going?
Oh, yeah. I still have 7 on all my machines, but it's that time, dude. If Adobe's moving on, I guess I'll be moving on too. Back to you, Scott.
I just wanted to see how long it would go then. One thing I was thinking though, in regards to, I know we've got the 3-second lag. This would work quite well live if we all had separate laptops. We were in the same place, and all using NDI to go into a live stream. It'd cut the lag problem then. So if
I'll tell you what has worked for me in the past and may work for you guys in the future. What you have to remember is that it's not necessarily 100% crucial that the audio is 100% on with the video. If it was a few frames difference, that could work. So for me, what I've done, as far as like people sitting in the same room or people at least being in the same office or house and being able to NDI them together, is use a separate service like Discord to composite your audio, if that makes sense. So, like, for instance, if all of us were in a voice chat on a Discord server, we would, at the very least, hear each other all with little to no latency. And then we'd have to make some adjustments for video and blah, 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 but it would cut the dead air part. I don't know. I'm sorry to be trying to give y'all... I'm not trying to give y'all tech advice on your own show.
No, definitely.
No, that's good idea. That's the whole point. We get everyone on, everyone to share ideas.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right, Ant, before we carry on, you want to get the comments up, because I'm seeing in my peripheral vision loads of messages going up and down, and we are just ignoring everybody.
There is a lot of comments.
Let's see if there's anything,
I haven't answered anything. Is there any actual questions?
I don't know.
I mean, here's what you do. Just tell these guys to say, all hail Blue Whale. I know most of these guys that are in the chat. They know what's up.
What's a blue whale?
Oh, man. What's a blue whale? Now, come on. You're not going to get me. We're supposed to be talking about animation here. If you want to talk about hailing the whale, I can. See, Dave already knows, man. Even the snowman knows it. I don't need to tell you about the power of the great and wise Al-Hud al-Azim. One day you will all be entangled and you will understand, like I do, that the next step in human evolution is to become a ghost. I'm sorry. I don't want to take up all your time here. I've just got it started a little bit, and I'll let it go. I'm gonna drink my beer here. He zoomed in on me. See, I saw it now. I saw it too late. I'm way off with the timing. Oh shit.
I got a quick question, actually.
That'd be good.
Sure.
What does because I can't depend on Antony to bloody well come up with any questions.
I'm running this perfectly timed and put together show. I'll have you know.
Oh yes, it's working great.
All right, go on. You had a question, didn't you?
See, he had the facial
Nice
animation
look.
for it, man. That was great. That was great.
The question. Okay, it's getting bigged up now. It's only a little question. Overhyping it like the prequels. I was only going to ask them, what does Rubber Onion actually stand for?
You mean like morally or word-wise?
Any way you want it to mean.
Definitely morally.
I have no idea.
Morally.
I think I missed the first half of the question. I'm not sure.
Truth of the American way and blah blah blah, all that. You know, I can't come up with a joke and puppet at the same time. I'm not that funny. It's a portmanteau. It's a rubber from Rubber Hose Animation and onion from onion skinning. Rubber onion.
No, I'll get you.
That's it.
I've been listening to your show for a couple of years now, and I was just wondering what it meant. And since I got you on the show here with us, I thought I might as well bloody ask you. Totally nothing to do with what the whole point
And
of
you
the
did.
show is tonight, but there you go. So, yep, thank you very much. That might be the most important thing everybody takes away from this show tonight.
That's what I'm going to remember for sure.
Thanks.
And hopefully everyone will forget the terrible 3-second lag issue.
No, it's great, man.
You know, it's going to be a lot of fun watching this back later because there's a very different experience, I think, puppeting this and doing this and then actually watching it in chat because,
I'm sure.
honestly, I have no idea how this is coming across. But it's a blast for me.
But that's what it is being an early adopter, man. You know what I mean? Like, you go through the problems and where it's not perfect yet. It's still cool. Shit, man.
Yeah, I
20
think
years
that's-
ago,
You're first,
whatever,
and
when
it's
we were
crap.
kids. Yeah, exactly, man. Like, when we were kids, there was no prospect in sight of being able to do animation live. Like, I don't know. When I was a kid wanting to make cartoons, I never thought
That's
there'd be a way
definitely
to
true.
do that. Now here it is. Now here it is for whatever,
Well,
$80 a month or whatever I pay Adobe.
It is
There's still
amazing.
a lot of people that don't know that you can do it live. You know, we have a lot of meetings all the time, and most of them meetings are just spent trying to explain to people how you can do cartoons in real time, and you know what that means to the projects that we're working on. And that's what I was saying.
Well,
From,
having used it the way that I have on the show. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I was just really quickly going to say, when we were talking about things breaking and stuff like that, like that's the fun thing about working in cartoons, right? In animation is like that's how things sometimes work, right? You can suddenly start to get huge, and weird stuff happens, and that's okay, right? Like you're a cartoon, you shouldn't take things, shouldn't take things too seriously. Or I'm on a diet now, it's like it's
Nice.
So
nice.
I think that's part of the fun is being able to. A cartoon gives you an excuse to be and do whatever you want. And I think we are so used to seeing all these, the same old talking head videos over and over again on YouTube and Instagram and everywhere. And there we go. It just allows you to be something different. And I think, like Justin, for example, or Ghastly, I should say, like that's a persona, that's a brand, like that's something you slap on a T-shirt, on a lunchbox, and it's this
and
character.
I do.
And
I definitely
I know you do.
I slap
I've been to
it
the
on
store.
every
I've been to the
fucking
store.
thing I can. Oh shit.
Anyway, yeah.
No, that's entirely right. I mean, this is with a lot of the people that we've spoken to over the last couple of years. When you're on things like Twitch or YouTube and you're competing against like 100,000 other wannabe, vloggers and whatnot. If you can create yourself a cartoon avatar that's going to capture someone's attention just for a few seconds, then you've got a few seconds more than 100,000 other people might potentially have, and give you an opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier
try
that
and
working
catch
on the
up.
show and making. Sorry, 3 seconds late. Working on the show and creating something for broadcasts in that way, and also seeing how it's being used live. I can see it being used both ways, but it definitely is. It's very strong being able to produce something very quickly. As long as your character isn't really moving all that much. I mean, you can, but anytime the character's standing in one spot or sitting in one spot or is in one general posture, you can whip those scenes out so quickly with like general arm gestures and facial expression triggers and that sort of thing for production. But then also, I really think it's super beneficial for live stuff. I can't imagine that this isn't going to be used a lot in the future for people are always not going to say hiding behind avatars, but I mean it really is something that it frees up a lot of opportunity for people who might not feel entirely comfortable to be themselves in front of the camera to have their cartoon self be in front of the camera.
Yeah, it's just the whole digital world nowadays is bad branding.
Good point. Good point, me.
What was that film? Ready Player One. Mind you, that said, with Character Animator in the past, Antony's experimented with using like a joypad controller and linking it up to the walk cycle and using X and Y, and also with the fact that you can get the characters to turn around from forwards to profile to side. You can actually get a cartoon character and use them like control them like you would do a video game character. So you can, if you. It does take a bit more time, but you can build a shed load of embedded animations. You can get a character to do everything one might do on a normal timeline. The main issue at the moment, like I said, is if you use Photoshop, then if you build a super complicated character with tons of embedded animations, it can get too big. So the best solution will be to use Illustrator, and that'll be the best way to go. And I know that that is what's happening just a bit further down the line. You can already do it now. It's
we definitely had that on our Cartoon President. I mean, there's some really big puppets on that show.
Yeah, we've done some in the
And
past.
it can drop the frame rate.
We've got to a point where it just becomes unworkable. For like the live type stuff that we'd be doing, we kind of tend to just make the puppets small, lower resolution, just to keep the frame rate up. But yeah, we've had somewhere it just literally just stopped working because they've got a full animated cycle layer that's 100 odd frames and it just kills it.
But that said, there are solutions. First of all, when you if you're not doing it live and you're animating it in the staging area, you can animate it, drop it right down to 720 px, do your animation, then rescale it up to whatever you're exporting it as, like 4K, and just export it. And also, like I say, in regards to building a complicated character, you could do it vector based, and that will mean that you can build a much more bigger character. The biggest issue with doing it in vector at the moment is, like I said, with Photoshop, you can export an animation as a ping sequence, and then you can drop that ping sequence into Photoshop relatively easy. With Illustrator, it's a bit more complicated and it takes a lot more time. However, I do know that stuff is being done so you can drop it in the same sort of way that you will do with Photoshop. And once that's done, then it's going to open the doors wide up to like really build characters that can do everything you want them to do, really. So there's really exciting things coming, and I think already at the moment you can do a lot of in-depth animations, but I think a year, 2 years down the line, you're going to be doing a lot more, and like a lot more stuff like our Cartoon President. So I'm babbling on now.
You are definitely babbling on.
I'd say that's definitely true, but at the same time, there's still always going to be a place for the other styles of getting it done. Even now,
definitely.
I use Character Animator. I also use, the setups for the models. Kind of, you create pings that are from a poser to just create certain poses that you need for certain frames. We also still hand draw frames. A few here and there. And you can tell because they don't look as good as the Character Animator frames, but they're in there, man.
I mean, I actually work with. I'll say I do 3D style, so I use PNG renders, Photoshop, and Illustrator. It just depends on what the characters is that we're working on.
And then I normally just bring up, like you're saying, After Effects or Adobe Premiere. You get all them different ways. whether or not it's been rendered in Character Animator or rendered in Animate and whatnot, and then just bring it all together.
Has anyone used Characterizer yet? Or is that what's called?
Characterizer. Oh, no, what, the new face thing in CH?
Yeah, Characterizer.
Yes, the new face thing.
Oh, is that the thing for photos? Because I don't have the newest new yet. I still have 1.5.
Yeah, I've tried it out.
It's the thing that Kumail Nanjiani was turned into Lionel on the presentation. Dave, help me out.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I do remember
This is a Dave
Adobe
question.
Max. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Delay. Timing, comedy, timing. Yeah, Characterizer basically is, you take some photos of your face, you say a few things, and it turns you into your face into an animated stylized character. And so I would say for this table, it's probably not the type of stuff that we would use, but what we've seen is it's a great entry point for people who say, oh, I can't draw or I can't make a character. It's like, well, do you have a face? And 97% of the time, the answer is yes. And create a oh, wait a second. I can make an animated.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Oh, did you lose me?
There was a lot of you just blacked out there for a little bit. That's okay. Right after you said that 97% of the time people had faces, 100% of the time we couldn't hear you.
Okay. so there's 3% of faceless people got me back apparently. Anyway, it's just it's worth checking out. I think it's cool. I think particularly show it to people who may not think they're animators. I think it might make them change their mind.
No, I think it's ideal for people that aren't necessarily animators but want to create a cool avatar for their YouTube channel or Twitter.
Yeah, it's a very simple way to set up the mouth shapes and just get a working puppet pretty quickly.
Yeah, the thing that I see a lot on the internet, as far as anytime something pops up that will create animation quickly and easily, is like, well, why are you trying to kill the process? And I mean, that's never happened. Anytime a new medium or a new way of making animation comes up, it doesn't destroy the old one. It just, there's so much content that's out there now, or that needs to be out there now. We just absorb so much of it that if we were to, I mean, I guess if everyone became animators, maybe we might be able to create enough animated content for people to watch. But I think live cartoons, it's going to have to be a thing to keep up with the need. And then, of course, you have different styles and a different quality of animation and different medium of animation. I think this is just, it's a new version of it, live cartoons.
I think that over time you find that it becomes a situation where the people that control the animation, the people that are recording, can be more and more control of what the animation does. Like, anybody ever see that episode of Black Mirror where the guy's the little blue cat or whatever it was? He's sitting in the back of a box truck controlling the whole thing. So if it becomes a situation where it's like those one-man band pianos where they're pulling fucking levers and they're pushing buttons and they're twisting this and it does all these different things, when it becomes a point where a workstation can become the complete control for a singular character, how many of those workstations do you have to modularly create and to be able to do a full-scale episodic cartoon live like a stage performance? That would be amazing. That's where I'd like to see it go, man.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
It's not that far. I think, as I said, if you were using the controller base, so you've got the walk cycle going, and you can get the characters having a bit more of a left-right turn. And if you could, right now, like with Ant, if we wanted to, Antony can change the scenery and move the camera around, and each of the people could be controlling the character, walking them around and whatnot. It could be like one of them live American soap operas. You could have a live show, I'd imagine.
Yeah, one of the other setups
we've got. You couldn't have a script.
Live American soap operas? Do you not have soap operas in England?
Yeah, not live.
Are
they still live in America?
Live.
Wait a second. Don't you have Big Brother in Europe? Isn't there like a live 24-hour feed there?
Yeah, but that's a reality show, isn't it? Not a scripted show. Well, not supposed to be a scripted show.
Well,
I know that
I don't know.
Yeah, but you saw, like, when you was in England, you saw Coronation Street and EastEnders, didn't you?
I knew that they existed. I did not watch them, no.
Yeah. No, that's probably the best thing. But over in America, what's your equivalent to that then? Is it like, what is it, The Young and the Restless or something like that? I don't know.
Yep, Young and the Restless. Everyone watches that.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
Passions.
I watch it every day.
Passions with all the warlocks and
we watch
witches.
it after
hospital.
Yeah, we watch it after the Colbert show, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it. I wasn't gonna correct or anything. It's Colbert.
Well, yeah, Scott or Ant, one of you say Colbert is Colbert. it's just
Yeah.
it's funny.
I mean, Scott gets everyone's name wrong. Like literally,
No,
watch
Antony
back
said
on
it
every
wasn't me.
watch back on every one of our shows. He gets everyone's name wrong. Guaranteed.
Back to you.
Like every time there's a little short break, I have the opportunity to hear the backing track again. So as soon as the silence is, oh shit, dance part, break it down. Jesus Christ.
Gonna have a dance break.
What?
Oh, man.
By the way, that last time that I laughed, I ripped my headphones out of the thing, so I have no idea what that was all about.
Oh, nothing happened.
I just came back and we were on a dance break, so I was like, yeah, sure, what the hell.
Love it.
Right, okay.
Shall we see?
Okay.
Has anyone actually...
Okay.
Scott, aren't you in control of like reading the comments?
You carry on.
I thought you're in control of reading comments and asking questions.
Yes, I see a Canadian Scotsman is saying the show is very weird.
The show is very weird. I mean,
Yeah,
guys, now
we could call
we could call an audible and do something. You know, if I can do it live and do something to switch up on audio, if y'all want, like we could do something like that if you want to. Like,
well,
for instance, I
can
make a Google Hangouts. Oh wait, Dave's about to leave on us, goddamn snowman.
Well, I was just going to say I do have some extra work to get done, and then I have a meeting at 2:00 my time, so I do have to disappear in a second here. You see what I did there? Oh yeah,
I did.
But I love doing these, and we should do more of these in the future for sure. Maybe we can figure out our workflow a little better.
Do you know what?
Definitely.
When we watch back the shows, when it messes up or the awkward pauses, trust me, it makes it. They're the best bits.
Oh, it looks right when it comes. Oh,
Yep.
I understand. Hell yeah, man.
Right, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm looking at the time. I mean, we've been banging on now for like the last hour. And it's been great talking with you all. And it's been great with you all joining us here on this complete
Random
chaotic thing that is random show. But hopefully anyone watching that's into Character Animator, you know, they might have learned something. They probably didn't. But, you know, at the very least, they got to see us dancing. So it's all good. You know,
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
I agree.
You know what? I need some kind of pre-made
scene.
animation or scripted thing. It's like right, that's it. It's the end of the show. Thank you for everyone joining us. Something like that.
Is there anything anyone would like to say before we say goodbye to everyone?
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I
Just
could
before we
go
go,
on and on and on.
Forgive us.
and unfortunately, so can I. Right, Anthony, I'll tell you what. Get the questions up, and we'll
What
give everyone
questions?
one last chance. If the comments on YouTube, just whatever is the most current feed, if anybody wants to ask us something before everybody has to go, now is your time to drop your message. You've got 10 seconds. Go.
Yeah, I've got a question, man. Steven, how can I get you to come do my podcast, The Fright Power Hour, so we can talk cartoons for a little while, man? Send me a message on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll do that. If you live in the tri-state area, give me bourbon.
There you go. Send me a message, man. We'll get it figured out. Dave, same deal. I know your schedule is crazy, but I'd love to do a show with you again sometime. And now you use K, guys. I do my shit usually evening U.S. Central Time, which is pretty late for y'all. But if you're ever up late and drinking and you want to come through and talk about space and shit, that's usually where ghosts and whales and stuff. That's kind of my wheelhouse, I guess.
Oh, no problem. Antony's just building a new studio in his house, so he should have that finished. Because at the moment it's about 10 o'clock at night and Antony's at the other side of town in his office. But after Christmas, or in the next week or two, he's going to have his own studio. So the late time won't be an issue for us. So yeah, drop us a message, and sometime in January or February, we'll be more than happy to come on and talk about and find out what this bloody blue whale thing is.
I'm quite happy to stay up late drinking. It's always good.
Yeah. See, they got a plan already, man.
What's the Chris? What is the time by you now? Is it about what, 2 o'clock?
Me, it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
Right.
it's 10
Are you on
p.m.
the
here.
East
I'm
Coast? Like over.
No, I'm in Central. I live in Texas. I'm on worldwide universal standard. Everybody should base it on me time. My time zone is called Central. I don't know what the rest of y'all are doing, but I'm in Texas and this one's the best. Steven, you're huge, sir, you're huge. So now you have a snowman shirt. That was good.
I'm the ghost of Christmas present.
So then.
Well,
Bloody pauses.
What's funny is when you hear the 4th second of the pause, you know everybody heard it, so we're all about to start talking at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. Everyone waits. Everyone thinks, well, someone's going to say something now, and then you think, you know what? No one's going to say something. I'm going to say something, and that's when everybody says something. Right,
No, this is legitimately my favorite part of the podcast. I'm not kidding. My favorite part is the fact that there's all these crazy breaks.
It is.
Please don't lose that. I'm not kidding.
I don't think Antony knows how to lose that.
Ooh, a burn to go out on.
All right, you're in charge of the next show.
See, now you got
That's
your
it.
outro set.
I'm telling you. All right, we're going now. Bye, everyone.
Well, hang on. Got to be a bit more professional than that. We're in the presence of the great Rubber Onion. I've been listening to his shows for ages. He'd know how to end the show better. In fact, I think Steven should end the show for us. How should we end this show properly? How would you finish?
You know we
how
have
would
to
you...
end the show with a dance-off.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think you have it. We're ending the show on a dance-off.
Right, okay then. Everyone shout bye-bye and just dance.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us, and
Thank you
goodbye.
for having me. Woo! Number one!